Welcome to the Dice Counters gift guide. With Christmas approaching, we thought we would put together some board game recommendations. Today, we'll be focusing on family games.
So just to start with, initially we will let you know a few places that you can get them. So the first most obvious place is Amazon. If you are going to Amazon, do be careful who you buy from. Sometimes you can buy from Amazon itself, as in it'll tell you it's sold by Amazon. That's the best and the most legitimate way. Or the next best way would be sold by a third party seller, just a random shop from wherever. But do check reviews. You want 4 to 5 stars and a lot of reviews within the 12 months. It's really easy to check it out, and normally they're fulfilled by Amazon then as well. That's the best method. The next method would be if you want to save a little bit on shipping. There's two Irish online stores. The first being boardgamer.ie. They should have most of the ones we're going to list now, I think, as far as I know. And there's gamersworlddublin.com, which is based in Dublin, obviously, and they do the exact same thing. It's just maybe help you with the shipping because some games can be a little bit heavier. And finally, a little bit of plug ourselves. Here at Dice Encounters, we do run a board games night. So a nice majority of these games is in our collection. So if any of these pique your interest and you would rather try them first, you can come to us. Our main night right now is in the Gallery Bar and Restaurant in Mallow every Thursday, and we start at 8:30. If you want to check anything out, come on down to us. So Mary, what's first?
So, our first game is Ticket to Ride. There are a few variations of this, but I think you could start out with either the basic North American map or else the European map.
That's right. So the normal one is just Ticket to Ride, and the other one is just Europe. I would say maybe go with Europe. There is one more mechanic than the normal Ticket to Ride, but this just it seems like that would make it less competitive for you if you just want to be a bit more family friendly. Ticket to Ride is just basically a train game. You're building routes across the map in Europe from, like, say, England to Germany or whatever, or what have you, and you collect sets of cards in order to build from city to city, trying to fill out your routes. So what's that?
So, the next game on our list is Carcassonne.
Carcassonne is a tile placing game. You just have wee squares that you just get one, you place it down, and you get one of your little dudes, and you place him on that tile. So on the road, you will score for how long the road is. For in a city, you would score how big the city is, and so on. The person with the most points wins.
Next game is King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo is basically about the dice. You roll a whole bunch of these dice with green icons on them. Some will say that you could hit other monsters. Some would say will give you victory points, or some will give you energy, which helps you buy powers to use in the game, and it's the most victory points, or you can murder everybody in the game and then you'd win.
So the next game on our list is a recent award winner at the Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah.
Kingdomino.
Kingdomino is pretty new. It is really simple though. It is dominoes, if you ever have played dominoes, but it just happens to have colourful bits of land on it instead. So basically you're building a 5x5 square with these tiles that you've picked with your king, and you build out your kingdom, and it's scored by the matching tiles for that times crowns on them, and then the person with the most points at the end of the game is the winner. So that's fairly easy.
So something a little bit different. We're coming into a cooperative game, Forbidden Island, and also for those of you feeling a bit more adventurous, there's Pandemic.
Yeah, Forbidden Island is it is cooperative. You all play together as, I suppose it is treasure hunt. You are treasure hunters trying to gather up these treasures on a sinking island. Each turn, the island sinks, and you work together to make sure that it doesn't sink and that you get the treasure, and then you all fly off the island together. As Mary then said, if you are more adventurous, there's Pandemic. Pandemic would be its Forbidden Island's older brother, basically. It is the older game, but it's more complex in what happens in it. You play as
medics, I guess.
Yes, the CDC, basically, the Control Center for Disease, uh, trying to cure the diseases all over the world. And it's only just harder because there's just more things you have to do in the game as compared to Forbidden Island. Forbidden Island, you just move around, you fix the island, make sure it doesn't sink, get the treasure, and get off. And in Pandemic, you only have so much movement. Then each time it costs you to cure, and then move back, and there's a whole thing to it. So it is a little bit more complicated, but it's still cooperative. You all play together against the board, and hopefully win.
So next up is a really, really fun game where you can unleash your inner dragon, Tsuro.
Tsuro is basically another tile placing game. You'll have a bunch of tiles, and they have basically like a road on it, and you lay it down, and you fly your dragon along this road. And the main aim of the game is to just survive, not fly off the map, not crash into anybody else. Otherwise, you'll get hurt and you're out of the game. And everybody has all of these, and you play to the end of it. It's fairly simple. There's also another one which is Tsuro of the Seas. It's the same game, but you play as boats. There's a random element in that you roll dice, and if you roll a certain number on the dice, the dragons start moving, and the dragons can gobble up your boat, and you're out of the game and stuff like that. So that's it. That's just the main difference.
So the next game on the list is one we've played a couple of times. It's a lot of fun. Camel Up.
Camel Up's main thing is the betting, really. Everybody at the table is betting on camels to see who will win a race. In Camel Up, you can bet on each leg of the race and overall winner or loser, depending on what you think might be the most likely outcome. Each leg you'll just get money off your bets for who won those legs if you manage to guess correctly, and then same thing happens at the end. If you've bet correctly on the winner or loser, then you'll get coins, or coins deducted if you've guessed particularly badly, and the person with the most coins is the winner, basically.
Our next game is a very colourful, really well illustrated game called Century Spice Road.
How to describe this? Century Spice Road. You're basically collecting spices, but you use cards to do it. So you pick up a card if you want that'll help you get those spices. So if the newer the card, the more spices it might cost you in order to get that. But then when you play it, you'll get spices into your caravan. And when you have a certain amount of various spices, depending on what you want, you can then purchase like the victory point cards, which is the main objective, is to have the most victory points and to win. There's only 3 things you do. You take up cards, you play the cards, which give you spices, and then you use the spices to get victory points, and that's it.
Next on our list is a super cute kawaii game, Sushi Go.
Sushi Go is a card drafting game where you will have a bunch of cards. Everyone will have a bunch of cards, actually, and you'll pick one and then hand all those cards to the person next to you, and they'll be doing likewise all around, and someone will have handed cards to you. And you keep doing that until there's no more cards for the round, and then you'll reveal on the cards is cute sushi, as is indicated by the name, and various sushi scores you various points depending on how you play it. If you have loads of maki, then you could have the most points in the maki, or you have tempura. If you have 2 tempura, then you get double the points, things like that. And again, it's just whoever has the most points at the end of 3 rounds for Sushi Go is the winner.
Next up is a more modern take on a classic, and it's much more enjoyable, in my opinion, Monopoly Deal.
Monopoly Deal is a card game. It is Monopoly. It's just much more simplified, and it has a defined end, meaning all you do in the game is that you take 2 cards, like your pass and go, and then you could play up to 3 cards, and that could be money, properties, or action cards, like you would have chance or community chest in normal Monopoly, but it'd be like it's your birthday, so everybody has to pay you, or you're charging people rent. And it's the first person to get 3 full sets of property is the winner. And that's it.
Next up is a game I wasn't sure about because it seemed more complicated than it actually is. It's very pretty. Lanterns.
Lanterns, again, is some more tile placement. You will have a selection of tiles to play. And when you play the tile, it'll have 4 sets of lanterns, so a set of lanterns on each side, and they'll have various colors, sometimes more than one color per side. Like it could have like 2 blues, for instance, or 2 greens. But when you play it, you'll get the color that's facing you, and then everybody else gets the color that's facing them. So this is for up to 4 people. So if you're 4 people and there's like a blue, a green, a black, and a red, then the people will get the color that's indicated and is pointing at them. If you match a color, you also get more cards. You will use all these colored cards then to make a dedication to the emperor, which will get you honor, which is just the victory points basically. The person with the most honor at the end of the game is the winner. I'm now going to run through a couple of more games. Most of these just fall into other categories, and we're gonna skip over them reasonably quickly in order to keep this whole thing quite short. So there's Happy Salmon, Dixit, and Wits Wagers. These are all party style games. They're all still really good games. Some of them can just play more people. That's all. Wits and Wagers is a trivia style game. Happy Salmon is pretty fun card playing where you're trying to match with each other, and Dixit is just about kind of explaining what cards you have and people trying to guess it. The next set would be more for aimed towards kids. That's Exploding Kittens, Get Bit, Labyrinth, and Qwirkle. Again, all these are pretty good. Qwirkle would be great for kids because it's about colour and shape matching. Exploding Kittens is a straightforward card game that's a bit like Uno. Get Bit is about trying to escape from a shark. And Labyrinth is about running around the labyrinth trying to gather up treasures. Then finally there's the harder end of the games. These are also still great games, obviously. They're just slightly more difficult, or in that they might have a few more things to do. And they are Stone Age, Smallworld, and Takenoko. Takenoko is just about like feeding a panda, making a gardener happy, or making the emperor happy. It's just about achieving goals. Smallworld is like Risk, but with fantasy creatures. Think like elves, orcs, giants, things like that. And Stone Age is about being Stone Age cavemen trying to gather up resources, feed your people and stuff like that, and that's it. So that's it. That's all our recommendations for family games. I'd like to point out once again that you could get any of these family games on the likes of Amazon, boardgamer.ie, and gamersworlddublin.com. And if you want to come and check out our games night, any of these games, we're in the gallery bar and restaurant every Thursday at 8:30.